Okay, Peter, let's try something different.
Exhibit A.
What are you gonna do?
Told you. We're gonna hang out. Gonna watch a movie. Gonna take some pictures.
Oh, hell no!
And now, Exhibit B.
¡Pero la que te parió! ¿Qué?
Sí, señor. ¡Qué barbaridad,
Si se va la pelota, anda a la concha de tu... ¡Andate a Europa, vos, la que te parió!
I don't give a
Exhibit C.
Boy, that escalated quickly. I mean, that really got out of hand fast.
I think I made my point.
Hello everyone, it's your friendly neighborhood Dragon Bro here, and boy has the season done poorly in terms of fan reception. I mean, in all of my time watching Tales of a Galaxy Far, Far Away, I have never seen such an odd situation where both the fan base and the creator of one of the most successful Star Wars TV shows in recent memory just lost complete interest in the story of such a well-made original character. Now you may be asking yourself, Dragon, what the hell are you talking about? The Mandalorian seasons 1 through 2 were some of the best Star Wars media I've ever watched in my entire life, and gave me hope that there was a light at the end of the tunnel of shit that Disney tried to shove down my throat in the past. Why would they mess up such a great main character and story? Well, Timmy and friends, I'm going to tell you exactly why by giving you a very quick and detailed summary of each episode that has come out of this disappointing season so far by covering the first 4 episodes in this video and tell you what is wrong in each one as I review them in 3 parts of what I proudly call The Mandalorian Season 3 Turd Chronicles. Now, before you go around hitting the dislike button because of what I just said, at least watch the video all the way to the end so you get the context. But if you still feel the same desire afterwards to hate on me in the comments or by giving the video a dislike, then please go ahead and do it, because at the end of the day, YouTube doesn't care who gives this video engagement.
I don't care. I don't care.
Now, with all that pre-prep jargon out of the way, let's start with the most boring pilot episode of the series so far. So we begin this story with the armorer forging a Beskar helmet for the coming-of-age ceremony of a foundling that gets abruptly interrupted when a giant crocodile monster fails to snatch his child's snack, which causes all of the Mandalorians to suddenly turn into incompetent fighters when facing this creature, even though they are supposed to be renowned hunters.
What a waste.
Now, if you're asking yourself why in the hell are these people hosting ceremonies or have the entrance to their hideout in front of a lagoon where giant crocodile monsters could eat them at any time, the only answer I can give you is that Jon Favreau and the writers were probably high on cocaine when they wrote this script after no longer giving a shit about the story, which is going to become a common theme the further on we cover this season.
It's just a warning.
To get back on track, no Mandalorians die in this sequence, but they do get their ass whooped real hard by this crocodile monster until the still a badass Mando himself swoops in on his ship and blows up the damn thing with torpedoes to save the day. But as cool as that is, it still doesn't change the fact that a group of at least 20 veteran Mandalorians almost got their asses eaten by a random crocodile monster.
I almost died!
Anyway, Mando goes inside the cave with Grogu, where the armorer recaps us again of how futile Mando's quest to go bathe in the waters of the mines of Mandalore to redeem himself is, but this time Mando shows her proof through a crystallized Mandalorian artifact he picked off Jawas that is highly likely that the surface of Mandalore isn't poisoned, and he makes a deal with her that if he brings evidence that he visited Mandalore and bathed in its living waters, then he will be redeemed and welcomed back into the fold, to which the armorer agrees to these terms.
Okay.
Mando then goes off to a berry changed Navarro to speak with now High Magistrate Grieve Karga about getting directions to get his next quest objective, and Karga tries to convince Mando to stay on the planet by offering him a large batch of land and a high position in exchange, but Mando politely says he has to refuse his offer because he needs to complete this new side quest.
Okay. Wait, here's another one.
They then get abruptly interrupted by Karga's droid walking in frantically to let him know that pirates are causing a ruckus in the courtyard. And to make this short, the pirates are causing trouble because they want to drink alcohol in a school because it once used to be a bar before Navarro was rebuilt, which leads to the pirates threatening to hurt people if they don't let them drink in the school. But Karga and Mando decide to do this instead to tell the pirate scum they mean business.
Get out of here, Vane.
No.
It's a bad idea.
Mando then asks Karga if it was a good idea to let one of the pirates escape, and his response is that he did it so he could make a point to the other pirates that Navarro is not to be messed with. But in my opinion, I think this will come back later to bite him in the ass.
What's that supposed to mean?
You'll see.
Karga then asked Mando if he can become the new planet marshal to protect the planet, and when he asked him what happened to Gina Carano and Moff Gideon, all that he tells him is that Gina is no longer part of the franchise, but that at least Moff Gideon has been captured and is being transported to Coruscant for a war tribunal that will probably never happen because he's one of the few entertaining villains that keep people watching the show. Also, Mando asks him why he doesn't just ask the New Republic for protection, but Karga just tells him that Navarro will no longer bow down to anyone and remain an independent planet no matter what.
Hell yeah.
After trying very hard, Karga gives up trying to convince the dense Mando to stay on Navarro and helps him bring back IG-11, and let's just say it didn't work out, but at least IG-11 can rest in peace.
Creep! Oh, shoot it! Shoot it!
Well, now that Plan A has backfired, Mando decides the best course of action is to go to these gremlin-looking droidsmiths to repair IG-11, but they keep telling him that they can't bring back his memories because his memory circuit is shot, but also that the parts of the droid model he's asking to repair are very old and hard to find. Now, this inconvenience annoys Mando so much that he tells them to just repair the damn thing without the memory circuit, and that he will bring them the parts they need. But then out of nowhere, Grogu decides to bully the old gremlin bastard.
Grogu. Not a pet.
No, it's crazy. That's crazy. Bad baby. Oh, it's bad.
Sorry about that.
Okay, well, that's random.
Moving on, we get a 3-minute sequence of Mando leaving the planet with Grogu where they get ambushed by pirates that he kills, outwits, and escapes from quite easily. But then Mando lands his ship on an Earth-looking planet to reveal the fact that he wants to join Bo-Katan's posse to retake Mandalore. But he ends up finding out quickly that everyone that followed her abandoned the posse to become mercenaries because she never challenged him for the Darksaber.
Now comes the part where we throw our heads back and laugh. Ready?
Ready!
Deciding to act like a depressed Daenerys Targaryen, Bo-Katan starts to nag at Mando that he is the source of all her problems, which is absolutely false because most of her problems were caused by her for being too power hungry. But Mando tells her that he doesn't have time for her nagging and walks out on her to complete his side quest, ending the first episode.
Wait, what?
Okay, so that was the pilot episode of this season. Now, did you like the fact that all that Mando did was just walk around and talk to people 95% of the time about what he was going to do, while the remaining 5% was just 3-ish minutes of a blaster shootout in a space dogfight? Were you immersed by the pinnacle of Disney Star Wars storytelling? No? You were bored and felt like Disney made you waste 32 minutes of your time? Then f*** you, you bigot, because you're obviously a hater that has absolutely no clue about what Star Wars should be like. Now let's move on to episode 2 before I start rambling on for 2 hours about how stupid that is. Alright, so the show wastes 5 minutes of our time right off the bat because Disney hates you just to show us a scene of the 80s mechanic lady talking to Mando about getting those parts for IG-11 that were mentioned in the last episode, while showing us just how far the Disney special effects department has fallen.
I am dead inside.
Even worse, Mando finds out that the moment the 80s mechanic lady doesn't have the parts he needs to quickly fix IG-11, but somehow she is able to convince him to take Courage the Cowardly Droid with him instead until she is able to find the parts. And if you think I'm making that name up, look at how this thing reacts to Mando after he says he's going to Mandalore.
Sure. But of course you are. You're supposed to be piloting starfighters across the galaxy and fighting tyranny.
It's falling apart.
Thanks, Captain Obvious.
Now that they wasted enough of your valuable time, Mando lands in Mandalore and forces the cowardly droid to take air samples of the ruins below, but because we've padded the plot enough, Mando gets out of his ship because the whiny droid's signal was suddenly lost and goes out to investigate out of frustration. After walking 20 feet inside the cave, Mando gets immediately attacked by these white Sasquatch-looking things, and after a while decides to use the Darksaber to drive them off, but quickly finds out that Disney forgot to turn off the feminist ally setting, so the damn thing all of a sudden is 30 pounds heavier, which leads him to clumsily flailing the Darksaber around like an idiot while giving the Sasquatch creatures the chance to beat his ass some more, until he decides, I've had enough of this shit, and starts stabbing these creatures and throwing them off a cliff because it gets the job done faster.
And
faster.
Problems require
faster
solutions.
But wait, you say, what happened to Courage the Cowardly Droid? Well, my friends, the droid is actually safe.
Yes! 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 Yes!
Moving on, Mando confirms the Cowardly Droid's analysis that the air is breathable and goes with Grogu on a journey into the deeper levels of Mandalore caves to find the living waters until he gets captured quite easily by a freaking Warhammer 40k Chaos Droid who I guess is planning on eating him.
Excuse me, what?
Concerned about Mando, Grogu goes to save him, but because he decided to ignore his training with Luke Skywalker, he can't do shit. So a desperate Mando tells him to go get Bo-Katan instead, and off he goes on a GTA getaway on his pod where he dodges a flying lizard monster, force pushes away one of the Sasquatch monsters quite easily, and then with the cowardly Astromech's help, starts the ship to go to Bo-Katan's planet. While arriving on the planet, Bo-Katan gets notified that Mando's ship is arriving, and like a true asshole is getting ready to nag at him to leave her alone until she sees Grogu, which lets her know right away that something is very wrong.
Something is about to happen.
Arriving on Mandalore, Bo-Katan follows Grogu through the caves where we can finally see just how awesome she is, because unlike Mando, her helmet apparently has X-ray vision, so she's able to look up and see the Sasquatch monster traps to get the upper hand on them. As a result, we get a fight scene where Bo-Katan is somehow able to resist the strong blows from the Sasquatch beings that easily knocked down Mando's fully Beskar armored ass on the ground earlier, with her arms like it's nothing, while easily being able to dispatch them. But if you're still thinking that Disney didn't handicap Mando to prop Bo-Katan up, then how the hell do you explain this?
What the hell is even that?
Now, for those of you out there that want to defend why Bo-Katan can use the Darksaber so easily, let me just tell you that you're full of shit, because nowhere in the Star Wars lore does it say that a normal person needs to go through special training to wield and swing a lightsaber. The only reason Jedi and Sith train for so long with their lightsabers is to be able to use the full toolkit of Force-sensitive capabilities the Kyber crystals in their weapons can offer in combat, yet a normal person can still use them as a very light and destructive plasma sword if they've had any kind of training swinging bladed weapons.
No shit.
Are you seriously telling me that a Mandalorian who easily beat the crap out of Darksaber Moff Gideon a season ago with a spear and was trained to use other bladed weapons suddenly can't swing a super light plasma sword properly? Well, guess what? Disney has already disproved this idea of needing special training to use a lightsaber because Finn from the sequel trilogy, who isn't Force sensitive, used one to hold off Kylo Ren, whose only advantage against him was that he could use the Force.
It's all there, black and white, clear as crystal. You get nothing. You lose.
Anyway, Bo-Katan saves Mando, and together the trio goes down further into the mines to find the living waters. And just when you finally think Mando is going to have an epic redemption moment, Disney thinks it's the perfect time to degrade him even further.
To walk the way of the Mandalore. And the words of the creed shall be forever forged in my heart.
Oh, come on!
Genuinely surprised that Disney made Mando get cartoon snatched by a water monster, Bo-Katan goes in the water to save him yet again, but as she's pulling him up the surface, she sees the thing that pulled him down was actually a mythosaur that apparently only likes to pull down men because it does absolutely nothing except show us where most of the special effects budget was allocated, but after she takes him back to the surface, the episode just decides to end there.
What?
After telling and showing you the terrible bullying Disney forced on Mando's character, I want to ask those of you still watching me describe to you this travesty to please like, share, subscribe, and hit that all notifications button so that more people can see this video. But now let's move on to what I like to call the most pointless filler episode that's ever been made in this show. Look, I'm going to be frank with you guys. This episode only has 15 minutes of actual plot that's relevant to the story, while the other part of it I strongly suspect is just footage they filmed for the cancelled Rangers of the New Republic show that they thought would be great to use to pad the time of this episode to be 55 minutes.
You're not very bright, are you?
No, I'm not. I would like to be, but I'm not.
Also, you can easily tell that the 38-minute footage is completely different in terms of quality and tone compared to the 15 minutes of actual relevant story footage we get. Now, I'm going to speed through this pointless episode to save you time, and I promise you that you won't miss a single relevant detail, so let's get the 38-minute filler section out of the way first. So we start the filler portion by hearing the cloning expert Dr. Pershing give a long speech about how thankful he is to the New Republic that he has been pardoned by them and admitted to their amnesty program. But then we get more pointless talking where the senators suck up to him to look good in front of their peers, just like Disney does with political activists when they want to ruin IPs to promote their bullshit. We then get more scenes where the Doctor talks to his fellow ex-Imperials about how great it is they avoided punishment from the military tribunals, and then we are introduced to this former wannabe female Elvis communications officer who is basically a brainwashed ex-Imperial agent of the New Republic that helps them out in catching and rehabilitating Amnesty Imperials to show naughty symptoms of anti-New Republic sentiment. So you already know what she's going to do to the poor Doctor, but I'll mention it anyway.
No, God! No, God, please, no! 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 No!
To make it short, she befriends him to trick him into implicating himself by convincing him to go to an abandoned scrapyard with her so he can find supplies for a mobile lab station from an abandoned Imperial ship in order so that he can continue his illegal cloning research in secret. But wouldn't you know it, the Doctor gets caught right away by the authorities and is subjected to brainwashing torture because this obviously conniving bitch he just recently met was secretly a secret agent all along of what amounts to the New Republic Gestapo police, as I already mentioned in the last paragraph.
Jeez, what a bitch.
Anyway, the filler portion ends with her watching in delight as the New Republic Gestapo torture the Doctor to brainwash him, and we're now going to move on from this pointless filler to cover the actual 15 minutes of relevant plot that this episode has. The Mando plot picks up where we left off last time, where Bo-Katan, along with the now redeemed Mando, leave the surface of Mandalore and get attacked by Imperial TIE fighters as they near Bo-Katan's planet, and we get a very long dogfight scene that concludes with Mando suddenly deciding to turn into a badass again by destroying most of the TIE fighters by himself, while Bo-Katan just flies around avoiding the TIE fighters until a real man comes in to save her ass from trouble.
Because that's what heroes do.
However, she realizes this is a Disney Star Wars show, so she has to at least kill one of them by herself so that all the crazy multicolored hair feminists out there can cry out in joy that they can see themselves in her, because she obviously didn't need help from a man a few seconds ago to avoid getting killed by the idiotic tunnel vision TIE Interceptor Squadron.
Oh, for f***'s sake.
Now, if you think I'm exaggerating with what I'm saying, wait until we get to episodes 5 through 6 and then tell me afterwards if you still think my comments are that of a crazed dragon.
Come on, I dare you. You have been dared.
To finish these 15 relevant minutes, the duo arrives at Mando's hideout planet where they provide proof to the Coven that Mando did indeed redeem himself and that Mandalore itself is actually quite habitable. This then leads to a scene where the armorer validates their story by pouring water from the evidence vial they took from Mandalore into a bowl where the water starts to glow, which now means that Mando and Bo-Katan, a random apostate that doesn't follow their creed, have now been redeemed, and with that the episode abruptly ends.
That was quick.
Now, without further delay, let's move on to episode 4.
Well, shit!
So, we begin with B-roll footage of Mandalorian's training, and my god, I think I know how these idiots attract dangerous monsters to their hideout daily.
What the f is this?
I don't know.
First off, can someone please explain to me why the hell are there so many of these guys just randomly wasting ammo and explosive ordnance? Do they think that the heretical water is the spawn point of crocodile monsters and that by lighting it up with pure firepower, the crocodile monsters will just stop spawning? Second, is Disney expecting me to believe that after spending so much time hiding out on this planet, these Mandalorians never once thought to make range targets to practice their shooting? Lastly, why is Disney making me waste time asking questions to stupid shit like this? Also, who was the director who greenlighted this idiotic training sequence?
Fool of a took.
Alright, moving on. We then see Mando taking Grogu to the Foundling training ground section so he can stay in top form, and he is paired with a cocky Foundling who thinks that Grogu isn't worthy of being his sparring partner because he isn't wearing a helmet. When they start the actual practice session, the cocky Foundling gets 2 paintball shots on Grogu, and just when you think that he is about to learn how to grow from defeat, Mando gives him a pep talk that boils down to, "Okay kid, stop pretending to be weak, you're making me look bad," which then leads to Grogu showing just how OP the Force is.
3 points. Winner.
There you go.
What is this crap?
Okay, I think I just lost 20 brain cells, but moving on, the cocky Foundling looks out in frustration over the edge of the lake until, like a random open-world Skyrim event, a flying monster snatches him, starting a new side quest.
Why am I not surprised?
We also find out quite randomly that the cocky Foundling is actually the son of the minigunner Mandalorian, and because they need an excuse to use their jetpacks, we get a scene of these idiots trying to chase after a flying monster with jetpacks that don't have enough fuel to chase after it all the way. But not to worry, because our hero Bo-Katan comes in to save the day by letting us know she found its lair. They then take their sweet time to assemble a hunting party and planning out their approach, while this child's father is acting cool as a cucumber, like as if his son isn't in imminent danger of becoming dinosaur bird food at any moment.
Right on. Very cool. Very, very cool. That's cool.
They then go on their mission while leaving Grogu behind, and we get a PTSD flashback scene of him remembering the Jedi Temple Purge when he was younger as the armorer is hammering away, making him a Beskar armor plate, where we see for the first time Jar Jar Binks' original voice actor show up as the Jedi Master who saved Grogu from the Purge. But other than that, we're never told anything else about him, even though he seemed like an interesting character who easily killed clone troopers, which leads me to believe that he was a Jedi Knight that actually fought in the battlefield constantly, yet we'll never know more about him because Disney just used this flashback sequence in order to pad the time of this episode to be exactly 30 minutes.
Disappointed!
We then return to the uninteresting side quest story where the Mandalorians have made camp near the cliff face they're going to climb, and then the next day they decide to stealth climb up the dinosaur's lair, Mission Impossible style, but when they reach the actual nest the plan goes to bust when the minigunner Mandalorian decides all of a sudden he has emotions and starts a ruckus that immediately alarms the flying dinosaur who now has his kid to fly away with him.
Idiot.
After that blunder, a jetpack chase scene unfolds where the Mandalorians get outsmarted and smacked by an oversized flying dinosaur for about a minute until Mando decides he wants to wrap up the side quest as soon as possible in the most badass yet idiotically insane way possible that actually works because he has Beskar armor, so I'll give Disney a pass on this one.
That was awesome.
Oh yeah, I forgot to mention, the foundling is rescued by his father and the flying dinosaur monster gets eaten by the Episode 1 crocodile monster, Jurassic World style. Also, the minigunner Mandalorian thanks Mando for his courage in helping to save his child, and because this is a Disney Star Wars show, the one that gets showered with all the praise and glory by the armorer of taking down the beast and saving the foundling's life is obviously Bo-Katan.
Jesus Christ! Really?
We are then shown a clip where Bo-Katan gives this Mandalorian enclave 3 flying dinosaur babies as tribute, I guess. She then gets a new set of shoulder pads as a bonus quest reward, mentions to her that she saw the mythosaur when she was in Mandalore, but then the armorer looks straight at her face to say the most appropriate response to such a comment I've ever heard, which is simply, "Cool story, bro." And then the episode just ends in what I guess Disney considers a dramatic cliffhanger.
What the was that? Okay?
Okay, so now that you at least understand the context behind the opinions many fans are expressing about the first half of the season being boring or uninteresting, please let me know what you think in the comments down below. And by the time you finish watching this video, I probably will be uploading part 2 very soon, so make sure to find that either at the end of this video or on the Mandalorian 3rd Chronicles playlist on my channel. Other than that, friends, I will catch you in the next one, and Namarie.